and welcome to the Living in Salida podcast, a podcast that offers insights into the charm and reality of living, working, and playing in the small mountain town of Salida, Colorado. I'm your host, McCarthy, a realtor that specializes in buying and selling in the Salida, Colorado area. In addition to helping people buy and sell property here, I love connecting with the wonderful people in our community, learning about their experiences in our town, and sharing these little slices of life in Salida with you. And today we're going to be talking about what it's like to retire in Salida. Now, Salida is known as having a robust and active retired community. As of 2023, over 12% of our population is aged 55 to 64, and over 7% is 12% is 55 to 64, and 7% is 65 to 74. So we have a good amount of people in that retirement age group. Also, Yahoo Finance voted Salida, Colorado as the best town to retire in all of Colorado. So it's a good place to consider if you are interested in retiring here. And today, lucky for us, I'm speaking with a retiree here, Sheri Sauthoff. She is a retired nurse living in Salida. She moved here from the Front Range several years ago, which we'll talk a little bit about. And I know Sheri because she's the grandmother of one of my son's friends and the mother-in-law of one of my friends in town. She's very active in the Salida community. I see her social calendar is busier than mine. And so I thought she'd be a really good resource for us to just explore that insight into being a retiree in Salida. So thank you for being here, Sheri.
I'm excited to be here as well.
Yeah, thanks. So let's just start out with the question I like to ask everybody is, how did you end up in the lovely little town of Salida, Colorado?
We already mentioned my grandchildren. Mm-hmm. So my son and daughter-in-law with their family moved here 3 years ago.
Okay.
And they had littles. So they now have a 5-year-old, a 3-year-old, and a 1-year-old. Mm-hmm. And my other grandchildren always lived out of state. So this was my opportunity to live in state with them and be a grandma.
Yeah.
And do fun things like story time and go to the pool and the hot springs and just hang out with them when I could do that.
That's right. And where were you living before?
I'm from Westminster, Colorado, which is in the Denver metro area.
Okay. And how long were you there?
That is not home. Home is Illinois, but I've been in Colorado 20 plus years.
Gotcha. Okay.
And then 10 years in Granby, which is another mountain town.
Okay.
But about 12 years in Westminster.
Okay.
Until I moved down here.
So
90% of the time.
Okay, that's right. Yeah, because you still have your Westminster home.
I do have a home up there. It's a patio home, so it's very little maintenance. So
Gotcha.
I can just close it up and come down here thinking, it'd be 50-50. And then it came 60, 40.
Yeah, I see you all the time.
It's 99% of the time.
So clearly you like it. It sounds like.
Here.
Yeah.
I have more friends in this town than I've had anywhere I've lived. And I've lived all over the country, many spots.
Wow. And you've only been here a few years,
and
right?
Only 3 years. Less than 3 years.
Yeah, because you bought here, what year was that?
I think. It was 3 years in the fall.
Okay. Yeah, so that's a short amount of time to make a statement like you have more friends here than anywhere else.
In fact, my daughter-in-law says, like you said, your calendar's busier than mine. You have more friends than I do.
I know, it's so funny. We'll try to make plans, and she was like, well, Sheri has this going on this day, so we'll have to look at another day.
Book me early.
Yeah, exactly. She's like, I gotta check with her. So had you been to Salida before your son and daughter-in-law moved here?
No, never been down to this area. I've been as far as Buena Vista. Okay. But never made it down to Salida.
Okay.
And so it was brand new. I started visiting them when they moved initially. Okay. And then the more I was down here, the more I wanted to buy something and be here. So
and make sure you're closer to them.
Yeah. So it's been great.
That's amazing. Yeah. So, we kind of mentioned that you're active. So tell us a few of the things, or actually all the things. What kind of activities?
You should see my long list.
Oh, you got a list. I love it.
I started thinking things. It's like, well, I do this. So
yeah. What do you tell us about some of the stuff that you do?
Big thing is pickleball. There's a great pickleball community between Buena Vista and Salida. So, but also on Wednesdays it's skiing. So we have a women's Monarch ski group.
Nice.
And we meet every Wednesday up at the ski area. And went back to skiing. I hadn't skied for like 12, 13 years.
Wow.
But then I knew my family here loves to ski, especially Grandma has to keep up with the little ones. The 5-year-old this year has now surpassed me.
He's a little prodigy with his skiing, but
it's okay. But I do that. I'm involved with my church. They have Bible studies there at church. Found a wonderful, it's single and widowed ladies over 50. So we get together for luncheons once a month and do activities together.
Yeah.
And everything the town has to offer. You know, there's First Fridays, the art walk. I have a friend and I usually go once a month just to browse the galleries and have free snacks there.
There you go. That's nice.
And then in the summer is the concerts at the park on Thursdays, and I like the Salida Aspen concerts.
Oh, okay.
Culturally, it just is amazing what this little town has to offer, and I think I'm amazed with that. You know, there's the theater project.
Yeah.
Barefoot in the Park's coming up real soon.
That's right.
And what else have I done? You know, there's Fib Arc and the Chalk Festival. I just go on and on of all the different things.
Yeah.
What did I miss? I cannot tell you.
Well, aren't you like in a mahjong group or something?
I'm in a mahjong
group.
I'm
going off of memory here. I feel like I've heard that one mentioned a few times.
Yes. I took a class through the city rec district. So I started to learn how to play mahjong, but it actually rolled over from the pickleball ladies and the skiing ladies started to play mahjong. So what's nice about the community is that you can be interconnected in multiple ways.
Okay.
And do multiple things together, I guess, is the best way to describe it.
Well, I mean... And
so it's fun.
I mean, that's how you make friends, is by seeing people on a regular basis. And so if you start doing activities, things that interest you, you'll see other people that have the same interests, and then I guess you're overlapping, right?
Right,
and,
yes.
And create those friendships. So, you mentioned that you, so the group that was... single and widowed women over 50. So that's amazing that you have. That's a pretty. It sounds almost niche, but it sounds like there's a good group there.
Yes. Yeah. So, there's about 20 ladies. That we get to.
And how often do you guys meet up?
Twice a month. We meet up once a month for luncheon at someone's house, and then we meet at Robin's, one of the local restaurants.
Oh, okay.
On
they've
the
got great breakfast.
Yes, and then we've done some. I'll call them field trips, for lack of another word. We've gone to the lavender farms.
That's in Cotopaxi, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
And then we went up to the ice sculpture.
I forget where that
Cripple
is.
Creek.
Oh, that's right. I still haven't gone to that.
Yeah. So we did that one this winter. So
like fun excursions and stuff.
Yeah.
So
and the train. We've done the train out of Leadville last fall. So.
Nice.
Can explore our area as well.
So it sounds like there's a good amount of people here that have a similar desire of just to connect with others and be active. So you're not... I feel like for a lot of people, there's the perception that when you retire, like, what am I going to do with my time? Mm-hmm. And, some people end up declining in their health because they're kind of sitting around or whatever. So because of the idea of if you don't use it, lose it seems to come to mind for me. What are your thoughts on that?
Exactly. And I've heard that from my mother-in-law, who's just had her 100th birthday.
Oh my goodness.
My husband's grandma, who was like 99, and they both always said, move it. I walk. It hurts to walk, but I keep going.
Yeah.
I'm real fortunate right now that my health is good and I'm able to do a lot of things. But I think that's also the part of living here.
Yeah.
Is that you've got to love the outdoors. You got to enjoy every part of the seasons, including winter, and just find what works for you, whether it's hiking or boating, biking. I have my e-bike, and so I enjoy that one summer. Spring and fall, I ride it.
Yeah.
To get around town when I prefer not to drive my car.
There you go. So. Yeah, because you found a nice little downtown spot. So,
yes.
So you can do that, which is very much the Salida
yes.
lifestyle.
Yes.
So being able to just ride your bike around. And it's safe. I know it made me think of when before I even moved here, I saw an older woman riding her bike, and she had a big smile on her face. And it was like, it's safe for her to ride her bike in town,
yes.
Like you wouldn't, downtown Denver, there's no way you'd do that, so it's just kind of that idea of, it's just that you have that option.
Yes,
so
exactly.
That's amazing.
It's so fun.
I love that. And let's see, what else I was going to ask you. So just I guess I just wanted to kind of paint the picture of, the idea of being active in this town. And I think it's so amazing seeing people ski so late in age. I know Monarch, I forgot to look it up before this, but there was like an extreme discount, if not free, after a certain age to ski at Monarch. Are you free? Oh, so that's amazing.
Well, I paid $25. So,
oh, okay.
But I call
so
that
that's
free.
Pretty much free. We're talking about skiing.
Yes.
So
I think it's 69 and older.
Okay.
69 or 70. And I think Monarch is the only ski area left in the state that does that.
Oh,
there were
really?
several that used to, and they've now one, I think, is you have to be 80 or something before you ski free. So,
but still, so that's amazing.
It is.
And I mean, that's
and
pretty
30
cool.
minutes
Yeah, that we're so close to a place that supports that, and just
seniors.
sees that the community. We do have a lot of seniors in our community that are active, and give them that little benefit there. So I love that. So you mentioned you're in good health, which is amazing, but you probably still need to go to the doctor sometimes.
Yes.
So I know that's one, I guess, question people have when they're thinking of moving here is, what's the healthcare like and access to healthcare? Because, we are a small area. We don't have everything. I do like to point that out to people to do their own research on what they need. Some people do need to go to the Front Range. So how do you manage that?
For me, right now, since I still have my home in Westminster, I go to a hospital in Denver.
Okay.
My internist is up there, my family doctor.
Gotcha.
So other friends that I've surveyed, because I knew we were going to have this discussion, especially healthcare, because it is a concern.
Sure.
Do a variety of things.
Okay.
A lot have local physicians and dental care here. And are very comfortable with that, but they do a lot of them carry the helicopter insurance.
Oh, okay.
I think it's called REACH here.
It is called REACH, yeah, okay.
And they feel that for them is a level of security and financial question.
Yeah.
Whether their insurance would cover that cost or not, so they don't worry about that. So that's a big thing. When I ask people, she said, get the REACH insurance, get that. That was a common theme.
Okay, that's good to know. So that is, I've looked into that myself. So you pay a pretty small fee, and that's to cover if you do have to be helicoptered to a larger hospital.
Correct. Yes.
Okay.
Yes, but they do offer. They have, again, do your research, but they do have internists. They do have urology, orthopedics, of course, because of the closeness to the ski area. There's a lot of orthopedic work done. They have a small dialysis center, which is very rare for this size town.
That's true. I know that was somewhat recent in recent years. They brought it here.
I know they have an oncology center. I don't know exactly the size of it or what people do. So I feel like the area has more to offer than you would expect as far as medical care. But you really have to, that's a big comfort. You have to find what your comfort level is.
Absolutely. And, the trade-offs of, okay, well, maybe I need to drive to Colorado Springs or Denver every few months or, whatever the frequency is for you. And does that outweigh the benefit of having your full life here?
Correct.
And the lifestyle here. So that's kind of, that is a trade-off of living in a rural area regardless of your age.
Yes, and anywhere. Not just Salida. It's all over the country.
Absolutely.
The rural needs.
Any of the rural needs, yeah, definitely.
I know we have a relatively new geriatric physician that's moved to town.
Oh, okay, I didn't know that.
And so I was trying to find the person's name or their exact specialty, but I know that's a big plus.
Definitely.
Specializes in our age group.
Yeah, and I know Heart of the Rockies Regional Medical Center, that's kind of what we're talking about. That's the main medical organization here. I know they're constantly adding to it, and, we're working to serve the community as best they can. So
yes. And I've used their walk-in clinic, the one up in Buena Vista. And it was great. The nurse practitioner was there. I needed a few stitches after I fell.
Oh, goodness.
Playing pickleball.
You fell playing pickleball. Okay.
Yeah. One of those statistics of rising accidents with pickleball.
I've talked to a few people that have heard themselves playing pickleball.
Yeah, I was quite embarrassed. But, they were great. Stitches were fine. And I know the hospital here in Salida is working hard to have a clinic that's open as well for walk-ins.
That's good to know. Yeah.
I think that staffing is still there working on it.
Sure.
that's in the works. So
that's good to know.
At least for urgent care kind of needs too, which you run into that you don't want to run to the Colorado Springs if you think you've got a bad cold, sinus infection, or something minor, but still need a physician.
Yeah, like because it always happens on like a Saturday night or something.
Exactly.
So that's good to know. Well, no, that's good to know because I think that's a big question that people have here, and then. Really just another thing that I was thinking about for you is you travel a lot too. Don't you travel with some of the friends that you mentioned?
Yes.
And that's another variable of living here is
exactly.
Sometimes you have to drive to Denver to fly internationally. Yes. Aren't you going to Norway later?
No, I've been to Norway.
Oh, you were already in Norway. You're going to Ireland. That's what it was.
Ireland.
Your son was just in Norway.
Yes.
I can't keep up with you guys. Yeah. You guys have too much fun. But so what, that's another part of living here. What are your thoughts on, having to drive far to get to an airport?
Yeah. I'm lucky in that I have my house and I can go to the house and spend the night and then fly out.
Gotcha.
But the bus staying, the bus service.
The bus staying. You're right.
Now, twice a day. It used to be one trip out to Denver. Now they're doing it 2 times a day. So it's real easy to take the bus, catch to downtown Denver, catch the A train, and then stay in a hotel overnight. Is what I would do. I wouldn't chance making that whole trip and getting to the airport
in one
unless
day,
I had a midnight flight or something.
Yeah.
But and that's for seniors. I haven't looked for the price here, but it's super affordable. I want to say less than probably $20 one way.
Okay. Like a minimal cost.
Yes,
yeah.
Exactly. So so that's an easy option.
Yeah. Well, it sounds like you're willing to navigate, some creative ways to have a good lifestyle.
Exactly.
And to be able to live in a rural area. And I think it's easy for people to kind of, get stuck in what's comfortable and, say, well, I can't do that because of, it's not near this or I don't have that. And, how much do you need to be right next to, I don't know, fill in the blank, Costco, Target, whatever.
Costco delivers now. So,
there you go. See, creative ways you can figure it all out. So you don't need all of that. So what would you say to somebody who's considering moving here? They're thinking of retiring soon or they've already retired. What kind of advice or insight would you provide to that person?
I think the best thing is to come visit.
Okay.
I would think. And check it out as far as if you think that's going to fit your lifestyle and what you like to do.
Yeah.
I think that would be a good idea. Maybe come visit summer and winter because we always want to move someplace when we go on vacation and it's summer and it's here 70 degrees and it's beautiful. Well, winters are different. I mean, they're really nice. We get very little snow, but you have to also find your winter activities. If you're going to say, I'm just not going to do anything all winter, it's going to be a long winter for you and you may not be a good fit. So.
Yeah. Or you can be a snowbird. Some people choose that. Yeah. If you can afford to do that.
Yeah. Then that's your option too, which is nice to be able to do that.
And have a home in a warmer place in the wintertime. So I think you kind of can do either one of those both. Things, right? Yeah. That makes sense. And one thing I forgot to mention, I guess, before we're wrapping up is just the activities, not just kind of the fun stuff you mentioned, but we have a lot of nonprofits and events and organizations in our community. And I know there's just a very vibrant retiree community that volunteers for those. And it's really like the heart of the town to keep those nonprofits alive and keep those events. I know you mentioned you volunteered at FibArc, right? And they would need a ton of volunteers. Yes. It's our the largest event, let me use proper English, in Salida by far. It draws in thousands of visitors and they need hundreds of volunteers, I think. So, being able to, so if it's just one event or an organization like the Humane Society, the Arc Valley Humane Society, or name your cause. We have an organization that supports it.
Concert series, yes, the Salida Aspen Concert Series needs volunteers.
Okay, yeah,
and I love that. Or the Granary, or
the Granary, or
the food banks here.
Absolutely. So there's a number of organizations and nonprofits in town that rely on people helping.
Yeah, and I think I haven't done it. I have a friend who does it. Is where the Boys and Girls Club now is combining with senior volunteers. Oh,
and
okay. I think they go to like the Columbine Manor, which is the nursing home long-term rehab
here
in town, and other activities. So that's a great intergenerational thing.
I love that. Yeah, they can learn from one another. Yes. I love that.
Yeah.
So there's just that community aspect and just helping your community. So, I mean, if you have extra time and you want to feel of service, which I know, well, I don't know, but I can imagine if you're not working, you want to do something, right?
Yes,
so if you can help others or put your energy into whatever cause you're interested in, I mean, we probably have that organization here, or you can start it.
And Facebook is great for that.
You're right.
That's how I met my first retiree here.
Oh,
she posted in Facebook and said she was new to the area. And she wanted to get a group together to go bowling one night a week.
I love that.
Just for fun, and she's turned out to be one of my best friends.
That's amazing. Yeah. I do point a lot of people to Facebook for that community aspect.
Exactly.
And there's a lot of people that kind of raise their hand to say, I'm new, I'm looking for friends, and it's met with so much just inclusion.
Yes, exactly.
So that's a really good tip for somebody who's looking to come here and to, put yourself out there a little bit, and it seems like you'll get a warm welcome.
You will, because I am not one of those. When I moved here, made that choice, I was like, I'm more reserved and quiet, and I knew I had to put myself out a little bit farther than what I normally would do. Yeah. But the reception, as you say, has been so warm and loving here and inclusive that was no problem to get connected.
Yeah. I love that. Well, that's perfect. Well, that's wonderful advice. Thank you for sharing your insights. So if you're interested in, exploring Salida as a retirement option, visit, join some Facebook groups, and try to make some friends. Go first is a way of putting yourself out there. I'm Monica McCarthy, a realtor who specializes in Salida and surrounding areas. If you're interested in connecting with me, whether it's to help you buy or sell a home or about being on this podcast, reach out to me. All of my contact information is in the show notes. And if you like this podcast, please share it with a friend. I'd love to get your help spreading the word. And you can learn more about Salida, Colorado and the real estate market here on my YouTube channel, which is also called Living in Salida, Colorado. Thank you for listening, and take care.